Hello, everybody. Hope that everybody's all right. And this is a temporary setup while I continue to reorganize everything. Welcome aboard. Mm, We have this okay. This is all right. Looks okay. Nice to have all of you here from a little temporary setup because a lot of stuff is still not done. There's still a big screen there with the SDR running, but it's a little complicated. I have this new desk here. There's going to be a new desk there. Anyways, we're going to talk about it a little later. So, welcome everyone. This is the Shortwave Radio Show. We or stream. We are live twice a week, and that's starting today. We are back to our live. That's twice a week. One of the times is Wednesday evening, North America, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's for most of the world, 0 hours UTC Thursday. So midnight Thursday UTC. And of course, we are in live on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about radio and have fun with radio. And I'll be talking about radio, some of the stuff I did with radio, and we are going to talk about how things are going. Not at all the way I planned. And we are going to have fun with radio. I've got the SDR running. I've got streaming with the computer of this new little toy here, which is a little Chromebook that I've purchased, and it's actually being used right now to check Priam, to check pirates, and to look at any frequencies of EIBI space .de if needed to find anything that we can do. Yes, the good old Texan H501X is right here, but it's not on any antenna, so it's not going to be used really because right now the multicoupler is not there. Half of everything that was working is not working, so I have to do the best that I can right now. I just put the flag there so you guys don't see the mess behind the flag. And anyways, it's nice to be back. I know a lot of you have been missing the live shows here. So typically my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We talk about radio, mostly shortwave radio, but any type of radio. And we just have fun for a few hours as we just, have the opportunity to share the knowledge and the radio fun, and also the nice cooler weather here in Montreal. Wednesday was crazy. It was 30. We reached something like 34 Celsius, which is like 90, past 90 Fahrenheit. But with the humidex, it felt like 104 or something like that. It was totally crazy. So it was either I do the show with the air conditioning running, and even that would not have been a good idea because I have to position differently, and the air conditioning would not have worked well with the rest of the house. So with the heat and everything, I thought, let's start just Saturday because temperatures are much better today. About 70 here, 70 Fahrenheit. So, and it's raining right now. And the nice thing about this place is now that I can see outside here with this desk. So this is a desk that I put up today, actually, purchased on Amazon. It's a very nice desk, actually. I completed the desk and I immediately figured that I need a second one because it's going to be on that wall. So there's going to be lots of things. I'm going to go gradually with some of the expensive stuff that I want to add. So I have a 55-inch screen with the SDR there. I'm going to add another 55 on this wall. There's going to be two of them. So it's really nice desk. It's also fabulous for how easy the desk is to build. It's a metal frame that you just put the parts in. You put the wooden top on it, and you just put in six screws, and it's finished. It's like it takes like literally 15 minutes to build, and you get a nice desk. And what's nice also with the desk is that underneath, no cluttering. There's just um, two big metal squares on each side that hold the desk together, and that's it. So underneath, if you need to vacuum, if you need to have access, easy access, I find it simple to build, simple desk. It's this one is 5 feet long, and it's really really nice. I see some of you want to know what the desk is. This is what I purchased. I actually purchased a second one. I'm going to give you guys the Amazon link. Probably going to be the Amazon Canada link you're going to get, but here is what I have. So it's a 55-inch office computer desk, white frame with oak top. And this is the product that I just purchased. If you guys want to see the desk to the desk, it has two slots for the wires if you want to put some computers and stuff like that and pass wires through. And I also purchased Tesson power bars that are totally designed that you could put big fat wall warts in each of the plugs, and they all fit in because the space between each is enough for all of it. And at the end of the power bar, there's three USB ports also that give you power if you need USB connection for power quickly. No fiddling around trying to find a power adapter. You just stick in the power adapter and on the bar, and it just works. So I bought two of those. Since I'll have two desks, I'll have two of these power bars, one for each desk, with all the electronics and the stuff working. So, anyways, if you guys want to take a look at the desk, it's a simple desk, but it does an amazingly nice job. It is nice. It works great. It's not too heavy, and it literally you build this desk in exactly 15 minutes. It's really really nice. So that's what it is. Apart from that, we have, of course, a nice chat room where you guys can actually interact. Um, if you have a Gmail account, you can actually join in. I've made sure that because there was a change when I actually started the live stream, everything's changed. The interface to go into the live stream through Google Chrome is actually totally different from what it was before. I kind of had to learn a little bit about the changes, and made sure that the chat is recorded so that it'll play back when people watch the show after the live show's over. So that is nice and helpful people, great people. We have a Facebook group, which is the official SWL channel Facebook group. That also is a great place to be to share information and to have fun. We passed 2,000 members, which is great. The official Shortwave channel here is past 30,000 members or subscribers, which is nice. And I am having fun today. I didn't have time to do one for today, but I'm having fun. I bought these little iron-on transfers that you print, and I've got some T-shirts over there in a package. I'll be doing a couple of Shortwave official SWL channel T-shirts that I'll wear while I'm live. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, to have little personalized T-shirts, homemade with the printer, but it's going to be cool. So we talk about radio and we have fun. And here's my traditional drink. Cheers, everyone. vodka and cranberry juice. On a coaster to make sure that I don't damage my new desk. So nice to have everybody here, and it's really cool to have all of you. So, blind picker, nice to have you on board, Rob, and cool to have you back. It's always cool to have everybody here. We have Matt, MDK2. Nice to have you here from Denver, Colorado. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. WA5107 SWL in Louisiana. Hope you're not going to get hit too hard with the hurricane. Blind picker is W0RAB in Connecticut. Blind ham. We have Rufus, nice to have you here. Says finally not sweltering in the Laurentian Valley. So absolutely here too. It's like, man, was crazy. Just going to check the email to make sure that I see if anybody said hello. Richard Lemke in Alberta says hello. Welcome back. And he says, nice to see you smiling. Cool. And nice to have you here, my friend. Are there any Canadian geese flying around? Yeah, there's a lot here, especially when I go to close to the water, like Perry Island, or even Visitation Island, where I went the other day. There's tons of them, absolutely. So nice to have you here, Richard. We have Elizabeth from Regina, Saskatchewan, saying hello, and she says it's nice to have you back. So thanks for the welcome. We have Rob in Phoenix, Arizona. Nice to have you on board. 99 Fahrenheit's. Too hot for me, that. Michael Thompson, nice to have you here. We have Don Warner. Nice to have you on board from Southwest Ohio. We have RTM. Nice to have you here from the Napa County, California. 100 degrees and windy. Wow. And you guys are getting like warm weather and these crazy fires in the West. It's really, really sad. Nick Sharp. Nice to have you on board from England. Terry Cook. Nice to have you here, my friend. We have David KJ4CMY says he's back. SoCal, nice to have you on board. M1MBZ, nice to have you on board. Salut. Shortwave listener, M5CIH or M83303SWL. Good evening from Bolton, Northwest UK. Dark, 15 degrees. Glad to have you back again. Thank you very much. Tom DXer, WPE2QED. Nice to have you on board from the Hudson Valley, New York. Terry Cook says, welcome back. KF7BQ in beautiful Western Montana. I need to go there one day. I've been to the East Coast, but I've never been. Most of the states I've never seen. So, it'd be nice to go to see all of these beautiful places around the U.S. again. I haven't been in the U.S. since, last time I've been to the U.S. was in, I think, 1998, 99, more than 20 years ago. Rufus recovering from 6 days of temperatures in the 90s with humidity, and I did here too. It was crazy. I was really. I spent a lot of time inside in the air conditioning. I can tell you that. Canadian radio TV guy, nice to have you here. Joe Tyson, nice to have you here. Andy Coley, nice to have you here. The WinX Gamer, nice to have you on board. Happy Saturday. Jeff Williams, nice to have you here, my friend. And from Cornwall, UK, Andrew Simpson, nice to have you here. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you on board from Northern Michigan, W8SWL. TVDXer, salut, ça va? Oui, ça va bien. J'espère que tu vas bien toi aussi. Hi, Brawler, nice to have you here from Arkansas. Jim, nice to have you here from Rhode Island. Tarek, nice to have you on board from Cairo, Egypt, the guy we hear on the radio all the time. Jeff in New Hampshire, nice to have you here. Says the triumphant return. Well, almost. A kind of very cluttered return, but things are slowly come back. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue. J'espère que ça va bien depuis la France et que la température est agréable. Kevin, nice to have you on board from Point Beach, New Jersey, WS2H. Vitor Miguel, nice to have you here from Portugal. Erica Trell, nice to have you on board. And he's back home from Nova Scotia, finally cooler weather in Boston. Yeah, you seem to have had a pretty nice trip there, Eric. It was pretty cool to see the pictures and kind of have a little virtual look at what you were going through. Robbie, nice to have you on board. Do you have retro computers on the shelf? Is that an Amiga? Yes, you have an Atari. Actually, here on the top, you have an Atari 1040 ST. You have a Commodore 128. And below, behind this Texan, an Amiga 500, all in working order. They all will be set up, ready to work when I need them once all of this is fixed and working. So this is going to be a lot of fun to play with and have it easy to set up. So what else do we have? So for those asking what desk I purchased, I posted the Amazon link. James Johnson, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? What else do we have? Just go down here. Graham, nice to have you on board. We have PLF Radio says, are you waiting for new radios or new equipment for your radios? Not now, because since I'm pretty much in the middle of reorganization, I'm going to actually have that fixed first. And once that is done, then I'll be looking at what other things I will be doing. No, Matt, the power bars, I actually purchased one to test out for the noise because I thought it's Amazon. If I don't like it, I'll return it. And plugged it in. No noise whatsoever from the power bars. And I think in the description, it was written that they had RFI chokes in them to limit the noise, because I thought about that when I saw that they were like, they had the USB ports. I was like, is that going to have like some noisy switching power like switching power supplies in them and so on? Actually, I've not noticed anything. And when I turn them on, I see no difference in the even on the SDR on the radio. So they seem to be pretty good. Pretty good. Vince, salut. J'espère que ça va bien. Nice to have you on board. Catalin, nice to have you here from Germany. Levi Nathan, nice to have you on board from Israel. And what else to do? Rob says it's also to post cool radio and antenna photos out in the Facebook group. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, the US link is there. So this is, how much is it in the US? Just out of curiosity, in US dollars. So you can actually choose a L-shaped 55-inch, or you have a 40, 48, and 55-inch here, as you see. It says currently unavailable in the US, unfortunately. That's sad, because here I ordered another one today, and it was available in Canada. But it says currently unavailable here. So, but it's definitely very nice. Definitely very nice. Honestly. What is that? There's like a mosquito or something trying to get my blood. VT Radio. So Michael Thompson, nice to have you here. VT Radio. Nice to have you here. Paul, AA1SU, checking in from Vermont. Working 3 different QSO parties. Cool. And it's nice to be back. John Hummel Newell, nice to have you here. VE5JHN, nice to have you here. Rick, nice to have you on board from Milwaukee. Yes, Hurricane WatchNet is very important. Is it active right now? hrw.org, I believe. They they are. Did I put H? That's not H. HRW.org. Is that Hurricane WatchNet? HWN. Yeah, that's the thing. I posted the HWN.net. So Hurricane WatchNet is right now. If I what the hell? I'm typing wrong all the time. Hurricane WatchNet dot org. Yeah, there we go. So it's active. No, it's not active. Not active right now. So net is not active. I don't know if they're having. It's usually when it really gets close to shore that they start to get active. So within the next hours, I think we're going to have to check it out. So Hurricane WatchNet, for those that don't know what that is the net that activates once hurricanes and tropical storms threaten land. So they have two frequencies that they use generally. Hurricane WatchNet uses 14325 in the daytime upper sideband and the 20-meter band. And sometimes they transition. They have like the two frequencies at the same time. But at night, mostly 7268 lower sideband. And they are they have hurricane reports, they have weather reports, they have top of the hour reports of where the position of the hurricane and the winds and so on. They have ham radio operators also joining in with reports of affected areas. So this is the place to be in the Hurricane WatchNet. And if you want to check it out, hwn.org, as PLF Radio just posted, you will see when it's active. And there on the webpage, you have the information of active hurricanes and information. Cool, Eric. Nice desk. Like I tell you, it's sturdy. It's good. Metal frame. Takes literally 15 minutes to put up, and work. It's great. Tarek, a news station on 7600 with audio carrier of the TV network called Afghanistan International, sister to Iran International. Yeah, I've been here in Montreal. 7600 has been barely. It's not invisible, but it's barely making it on the receivers. But in Europe, it's pretty strong, and it is interesting to check out. Also, if you are looking for news for Afghanistan, I mean, BBC World Service has been having an amazing coverage of the events happening in Afghanistan. So I think that's something to check out. Any BBC frequencies you can get. 95750 has been pretty good here in the evenings, North America, and 04 and 9915 via the Madagascar relay is pretty good also. So if you're looking for frequencies in North America that are not too difficult to receive. William Helms, nice to have you on board from Florida. Bob Cantor, nice to have you here from rainy New York. John Hummel says lots of good stuff on the amateur bands today. Everybody say hello to Elizabeth. Matt says, I've seen fewer Canadian geese in Denver this summer compared to recent years. A lot have taken to staying year round. We always get a lot in the winter. 45 unit. Nice to have you on board. Hot and humid Florida. Best wishes to all those on the Gulf Coast. Yep. Hope it's not too bad in Louisiana, particularly. Apparently, that's where it's gonna be heading. So hope it is not going to be too bad. And yep, Bobby Burgess needs to take care and make sure that everything's all right. We'll be thinking of you. John Earnshaw, nice to have you here. GQRP conference next weekend, 4th and 5th online, says M0JFE. John, cool. Gang of Four, nice to have you here from New Hampshire. Jerry DX, nice to have you here. Daniel, nice to have you on board. Um, good evening. Matt says, Jill, do you know that I am conspiring to have you visit Denver the next time they are able to hold a Great American Beer Festival, don't you? Yes, and that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun to visit Colorado at the same time. That'd be really, really cool. I need to that what's great with mine, because that's one thing that you have. It's really, if I'm gone too long, the problem is Paul the cat. But apart from that, wherever I am, I can actually continue working my YouTube stuff. I just bring a laptop, microphone, and as long as I have a decent internet connection, I can still post videos and continue doing stuff. That's what I was telling a friend. He says, "Well, can you really get away?" I said, "Yeah. What I do, I could do it anywhere. I'm not stuck doing it at a specific place. So I can actually work while visiting other places." Darren Rogers, nice to have you here from Long Island, New York. Hope you didn't get too much flooding the other day with the tropical storm. William Helms says Hurricane Ida 300 miles off to our west, headed northwest with close to 120 miles per hour winds. Hernandez, nice to have you on board. Salut. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board from Greenfield Park, Quebec. A little something at the end of the International Radio Report show yesterday, Sheldon. We had 30 seconds left. After the bye-bye, I actually added a little extra, which is, I thought it was fun. I actually spoke about it because I wanted to make sure everybody knew what it was. I added a recording of the Grimpton SAQ transmission on 17.2, what it sounded like. So that's going to be the last 30 seconds or so of the International Radio Report show tomorrow, with lots of interesting stuff. By the way, for those that have not joined, you can join our YouTube channel. There's, of course, Sheldon and me are co-hosts of the International Radio Report show. It's a show about radio, 30 minutes every Sunday at 14:30 UTC, 10:30 a.m. Eastern on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal, which is a local FM station, community campus FM station in Montreal. And that 30-minute show is packed with information of what's happening in the world of radio, locally, internationally, and so on. And you can listen to the archive on ckut.ca. You can also now join and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has the show posted roughly within the hour after it aired on the radio. Of course, you can stream it from CKUT live when it's actually playing. And we, of course, have a lot of fun doing this, and hope that you enjoy the show. And why not check it out and subscribe if you enjoy that 30 minutes of radio news every week. John, yay, Atari ST rules. Mark Ledford, nice to have you here from Houston, Texas. Canadian radio TV guy says, does anyone know what's happening over at WBCQ? 9230, World's Last Chance. I heard from Glenn Hauser that the 500 kilowatt transmitter was turned down to 5. Yep, because what's happening is that actually the 500 kilowatt transmitter is out of commission. They are using one of their old transmitters right now. What's happening is that the main power tube that is in there apparently split in half, and they're waiting for a replacement. It comes from France, and apparently it costs like $100,000 to have a new tube. So what they did is put an older transmitter on for now on 9330, which doesn't have a lot of power. I'm not even sure if I'm. Let me just check if I can see it here on the waterfall here in Montreal. I don't even see a peep of a signal. Usually, when they have that 500 kilowatts, it's visible. I have gotten that thing right now. I do see Greece 9420 with a pretty good signal right now. So I don't know. It's supposed to be eventually fixed. The other news we have is the fact that in Alan Wiener's show last week, he mentioned that the deadline is passed for the purchase of WHRI, and that apparently the deal is off, which means WBCQ will not be purchasing WHRI. Now he's ranting that it's, because of the FCC and blah blah blah. I don't know, but anyways, apparently that deal is not going through, and so I don't know what's going to happen with WHRI. I mean, it's, I believe, off the air right now. Will it come back? Will they do something with that? I have no idea. PLF radio temperature is okay where I am for once. Experience only the 1 week heat wave. Usually it's more than that. Cool. Fabio, nice to have you on board from New York. Loves shortwave radio. Be safe. Yes, you too. Robbie says, good computers, Atari ST, Amiga. I've always wanted both of them. Now it is more easy to run the emulator on my laptop. Yeah, but I like, I'm not a big fan of emulators. I like to run the real thing. So I'm happy to have the real machines. But, emulators are fun. You can still play and look at all the other stuff. Matt says it appears that the Hurricane WatchNet will be activated at 21 hours UTC, so in 30 minutes from now. So that means there's going to be some activity on 14325 maybe and 7268. Joe Tyson says got two IKEA desks to set up my retro machines, Amiga 500, Commodore 64, Atari 600 XL, and a coming Checkmark Mini with Mini Mig FPGA. Cool. Franco AC, nice to have you on board. What model is the Fender guitar in the background? It's a Fender Stratocaster. It's a Fender Stratocaster. That is right there. Sheldon Harvey talking about hurricane expected to hit New Orleans on Sunday. So look for special programming from WWL 870 AM. So that's one thing also to listen to local AM stations there. Maybe we can tune, if you don't hear it at your particular location, you can tune some of the online SDRs and get it, or you can maybe stream it as long as their internet stream holds on to the harsh weather that's going to happen tomorrow. So apparently there's a pirate on 6950 right now. I don't know if I can check it out here. 6950. I don't have a don't seem to have a peep of a signal here, but maybe somebody could MDK2 says, oh, RFI chokes. I'm interested in knowing which model of power bar that is in that case. Okay, the name of the power bar, the name of the company that makes them is Tessam. Tessam. And they make a ton of different power bars of every kind. And just look at the description, because I don't believe they all have them. But those were I chose because they had mentioned in the description that there were some RF5 chokes in them. So, and I guess it could help in maybe reducing even the interference from, what you could get from the power. So just check that out. Tessam. I've got another one here in this box. I don't have N, not an M, N. So this is what it is. This is the one I've got here. And this one had the RFI chokes in it. And this comes, what does it say here? There's a description of voltage, grounding, modifications. power rated. So there's a little booklet that has all the details, the technical details of the power bar, which is kind of interesting because we don't see power bar technical details usually much. Larry Gilmore, nice to have you on board. Says great to have you back. Today is Christmas for him. Unboxing the Ethon Elite 750 as we speak. Cool. Nice to have a new radio. It's always fun. Always fun to have new radios. Hope you have fun with it. Joe Michaels, notice less interference when I use batteries. That is the case for everybody. I always tell everyone if you're going to listen to shortwave, use your portable radios with battery. It's always better on the battery rather than being plugged in. Gang of Four was going to buy a Texan PL 990, but it only has a rechargeable battery. What is the best radio that takes both a rechargeable battery and also standard size batteries? Thanks. There are no radios that are kind of hybrid like that. What I would suggest is, I'm getting accustomed to it because what I did is I purchased extra 18650 batteries and an external charger. So I have now probably 12 or 14 18650s, which means I'm not going to run out of power and ever. Remember that, if you're afraid of running out of power with the PL 990, what you could do is simply buy those power bricks that are meant to charge your smartphone. You just charge the power brick, and you can plug your 990 in the power brick to actually charge it when you don't have power near. That is actually a good idea because it's going to give you a lot of power and a lot of listening time, way more than even regular batteries. So that could be a good idea. But I understand. I have the same little problem with those for the batteries that not that they're that difficult to find, but they're not standard, and they in the middle of nowhere, when you're camping and the only place in town is a small little shop. Well, they'll have double A batteries, but they won't have 18650s for you. So this is maybe a suggestion I would have, because it's like a pretty good radio, and having a power brick, rechargeable power pack with it is something that could help. Robbie says, love Atari and Commodore computers. What one did you use the most in the 80s and 90s? In the 80s, I used, so I had several. I had a Commodore VIC-20, which was my first ever computer, which I used a lot. And then the VIC-20 became the Commodore 128 that had the Commodore 64 mode in it, which was the mode I would use most of the time. But I loved the Commodore 128 80 columns mode. I had the monitor for it. And I could actually go on BBSs, like IBM style BBSs, and look at the BBS like real IBM PCs, thanks to the software they had for 80 columns on the 128 mode. Then, of course, I went into the Amiga 500, which was amazing, and for me, still today, one of the best price versus what you get, and you have a graphical interface like on a Mac at at that time was at a quarter of the price of a Mac computer, and it was powerful and it did everything. It was amazing. It's still amazing today to run that. But then after that, well, PCs, and PCs. So that happened. That's interesting. I saw like a sluggishness in my movement because this computer is running Windows 11 right now. So I hope that it's not going to mess up the frame rate or anything. Tristan, nice to have you on board. Says good to see you live again. Starting to feel like fall here in Newfoundland. Yeah, well, here the weather is not making it feel like it, but um, the angle of the sun is giving it away. It's like, yeah, really, really something that um, is it's showing we're going into fall and propagation also. It shows on the propagation. I see that, some of the signals that I had in the summer, a lot of them are now fading out. Radio New Zealand 13840 isn't as reliable as it was a month ago. And other signals in late afternoon that were very weak are now actually making it. So, you see a transformation on the propagation for sure. PLF Radio says, I'm not sure what is on 7600 right now. It is strong for me. Yeah, it's that Afghanistan TV station broadcasting towards Afghanistan. It has two different places where it broadcasts from. Um, so it's um, it's pretty interesting. And the signal across Europe, I've used many Kiwi SDRs and across Europe, it is strong almost everywhere. So you guys really have. And if I check it up here on a Kiwi SDR, even on the U20, I'm going to go to the U20, SDR, and SDR. I'm going to go there here on my Chromebook and tune start audio. You guys can probably hear it. This is what the Afghanistan station sound. It's not from Afghanistan, but it's there we go. So you guys probably hear it a little bit. So that's Afghanistan. Its IDs as Afghanistan TV International. It's an organization that comes from the UK, I believe, that also has Iranian TV. And they use two different shortwave transmitters that they alternate for the transmission towards Afghanistan. So 7600 is what, as you see here, it's very strong on the U20 receiver in the Netherlands. So that's pretty good. Mink 109. What ham bands are the most political conversations? Probably all of the ham bands have their part of political stuff. It depends on when and where you listen. So let's go down. Just trying to find where I was. So that I've done. Kamagzi 76, nice to have you here. Jim says the desk looks easier to build in IKEA. Oh, it's the desk as a frame, the metal frame. You simply put the metal parts in. They fit directly in the holes. And then you put just the wooden top on it. And there's 6 screws to hold it up together. 15 minutes, tell you. It's one of the reasons I purchased another one, not just because it is beautiful, but it's like, wow, 15 minutes, literally, it's done. I love that. I hate when you buy something and it's like, okay, it's going to take 4 hours to build the whole thing now. I'm like, yeah, okay. 15 minutes, it was done. It's like, it works great. And it's very solid, very sturdy, honestly. Mark Elford, nice to have you here from Vancouver Island. Jerry X says the Hurricane WatchNet should be activated soon. I'm going to actually go on 14325 and see if I can hear anything at some at some point. I'm going to go back here. We're going to check out if you guys want to try something. There's Morse code M12 spy number station from Russia in 16 minutes. And the frequency is going to be 10314, 10314 CW, or 10313 upper sideband if you want. The export, nice to have you here from Cincinnati. Randy, nice to have you on board from Riverside, California. Et je suis revenu, TVDX, sir. Absolument. Mink is from Israel. Nice to have you here. Jerry X says, hot in the city. Like Billy Idol's song. Yes, it's hot in the city. I can tell you that. But now it's not too bad. Matt says 7600 Afghanistan International TV. Yep, hearing it in Europe. Absolutely. Matt says, surely you have a trustworthy neighbor that can take care of Paul. Yeah, well, there could be. There's my downstairs neighbor that loves Paul. That I'm pretty sure she would be happy to take care of him, and I would give her the keys here. So it's like, just come and pet Paul and say hello and leave. Have him go outside a little bit. I could also ask my nephew to just come over and live here for whatever time I'm gone too. There are some possibilities, absolutely. No, it's not PLF radio. It's the EIBI space doesn't have it because it's that station got on the air August 15th, and the EIBI space frequency list has been updated last time August 2nd. It's not yet in the list, but it is definitely the you are hearing the Algeria TV station audio. Jerry fired up the Grundig 400 PE, no DSP chip, kind of crappy without it, but was okay 20 years ago. Yeah, but a 400 is not a bad radio. Mart, nice to have you here from Lincoln, England. What else do we have? Dennis, nice to have you on board. Says nice to have the live show return, hopefully complete with an Alex Jones impression. You gotta buy that MLA30. It sucks the airwaves. Sunpleo, nice to have you on board. Says just got done making a antenna. Cool. Singus Rider, nice to have you here from Rochester, New York. Welcome back. Thank you very much. James Johnson, nice to have you here from Florida. Katie4 RNA. Been a few shows since I've listened, but glad to be here. What else do we have? James Johnson loves the International Radio Report. Christian Marcoux, nice to have you on board from North Bay, Ontario. Salut, j'espère que tu vas bien. John Clay, nice to have you here. Al, love the shirt, Joe. I'm here listening to you with Lucy the cat. So nice to have you here, Hal, from Seacliff, New York. And of course, best friends for life with me and Paul the cat, which is I'm trying to get the Jill and Paul, best friends for life. Everything with the belly, like Paul. I need a belly on mine so that it actually represents me too. Man. What else do we have? Joe Tyson, Real Machine is the way to go. Canadian Radio TV guy, you play guitar? Yes. I've not actually played the guitar for a little while, but yeah, absolutely. Franco AC, have a Fender Jaguar and a Telecaster. Cool. Jared EX says, rest in peace, Charlie Watts. Yep. I was sure one of those guys would actually die on stage. As I was telling my nephew. My nephew and my brother are like big fans and of the Rolling Stones. Every time they will go on tour, and says, you know what, somebody's gonna die on stage at some point. Jim Gordon was looking the other day at an old QSL letter from 72, and the station was Radio Afghanistan on the 19-meter band. It used to throw in a strong signal here in Scotland during summer. Yeah, I've seen a video also. There's a couple of videos of Radio Afghanistan audio from shortwave back in the 70s. Cool, Matt. Dean Hintz, nice to have you on board from Georgia. Says, thanks for your reviews for all the radios. I end up going with the Texan PL330. No regrets. Loving the radio. Amazing radio. There's at the price that it's sold, there's almost nothing negative you can actually say about that radio because it's just so cool and it's so amazing for the price. Ricardo, nice to have you here from Portugal. Vince says my Texan PL 990X came with 2 batteries from an Onco. Yeah, the only thing is that they don't all come with the batteries. Depending on the shipping that you choose, because they are lithium-ion batteries, a lot of places when you purchase it do not include the batteries because they can't ship it. So that's because you paid for the specific shipping for that. SWL Fulvio radio operator, nice to have you here from Sicily, Italy. Nice to have you on board. Andy New, nice to have you here from Bristol, UK. He's got a PL990X and just purchased a SDR player SB1A, which is fun trying to decode some local UHF signals. Cool. You're all set up. Ricardo, Commodore Amiga forever. You know what, PLF Radio? Anonco will deliver to Europe if you go through the eBay page, not the web page. Anonco did say that when you read the actual text there, it's because they don't have Europe has that new tax thing. And what's happening is that Anonco itself does not have anything done so that tax can be somewhat, I don't know how it works, but that they can't pay the tax or something. But because eBay, here we go, because eBay does that automatically, they are saying that if you buy through the eBay store of Anonco, they will ship to Europe. But you have to go through the eBay store instead of going through the Anonco website. René Charbonnier from Radio Classic Sunday. Nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Robert Cross says, picked up COVID last week. Oh, man. Hope you're not feeling too bad. Joe Tyson. In college, I would have my Atari 1040 ST emulate a Mac and a PC while playing a game on the Atari. Man, these are amazing little machines, I can tell you, for the time. Canadian Radio TV guy, remember in the summer of 2018 where there was really strong Cantonese station on 12 megahertz? I haven't heard in a few years, but recently I've been hearing it again. Cool. Oh, that's interesting. You know what, Eric? Why it says out of stock? It probably says out of stock because they don't ship from US to Canada. They rather put like out of stock than in stock. Because here in Canada, it's in stock on the Canadian side. So probably they have something. It's like they don't want you to buy it in the US Amazon store, probably. That's interesting that it says it's in stock on your side. So I've ordered another one. I'm going to get it Thursday. They say that the actual date should be Thursday. So going to be cool. John Hummel says 80 meters is a strange place. Well, it's for a lot of people, it's a kind of a closer conversation. So it's actually more, conversations among guys that know each other, and often it's people that know each other, so they talk about everyday stuff. It's really, really a more local thing. It's not like 20 meters where you have contacts with people from the other side of the US or whatever. for sure. Elizabeth, nice to have you here. Says, glad I have been listening to you for years, listening for news on a 60 feet long line. Cool. So yeah, Afghanistan is from London, UK. The transmitter sites are in, I'm trying to remember, I think it's Kazakhstan and another place. Is it Qatar? I'm trying to remember where the two transmitter sites are. Vojislav, nice to have you on board from Serbia. Long time no see. Nice to have you back. And most political ham band is probably 80 meters. Yeah, it's possible. Kev Michael, nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? So in a few minutes, there should be an active net for Hurricane Watch Net. What else do we have? Erica Trill says price for the table on Amazon is $88.87 US. Okay. Here it comes. Here it's at 124 Canadian. So 88, if you count the price difference, is probably roughly the same. Roughly the same price. What else do we have? Jetcrafter, nice to have you here from Southern Maine. Activity Xer, is a PL990 a good buy? Yes, it is. It's a top of the line radio. It's right now, if you want to have a brand new top of the line portable receiver, the 990 is a top of the line receiver, like the H501X. These are two top of the line receivers. They are amazing. They have great audio. They are really, really nice. Triple conversion, and I love mine. Honestly, I love both of them. Really amazing radios. Simply, I'm not sure it's any better than 23 feet wire, but 30 feet of wire wrapped around 7 feet 2-inch dual clockwise turns. You got to try stuff. That's the important thing, is to try it. So just saying that in 4 minutes, 10314 CW. I'm going to try that. 314 CW is supposed to have the Russian number station M12. So that's going to be interesting to look at. M12 Russian number station. And that might come in. Jim, KN6BRK, nice to have you on board from California. Mobile Armored Strike Command from Boulder Hill, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Canadian Radio TV guy, you should start playing Moscow Nights on that guitar and the end of the live streams from now on. That would be an interesting one. Bob Cantor, about the ATS-25. I'm intrigued because it is kind of cute with that color screen and everything. What I've read is that it's apart from the bigger, more beautiful screen, it ain't necessarily better than the ATS-20. It's not that it's bad. It has its quirks. It has its weird way of functioning. And like pretty much all of these devices, you need to have external antenna. I get tons of people saying, well, you got a Chinese, like the DSP one, the Chinese clone of that Malahite, whatever. And they're all saying, well, it works fine with the telescopic antenna. I'm sorry, I've read dozens and dozens and dozens of report of people actually testing it real well and all saying, put an external antenna. Telescopic is noisy on all of those radios, including the original Russian one. You need to have an external antenna. It's as simple as that. So pretty much all of them need that. Um, okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? Yeah, Charlie Watts at 80s, 80. I mean, it's you could have lived more, but 80 is a decent. Considering the life that the Rolling Stones had, going to 80 is actually a pretty good thing. Yeah, they had the rough life with the drugs and everything. So, are we going to get the Russian number station, Morse code number station? 10314 CW or 10313 upper sideband. I don't seem to hear anything right now. KY Patriot Prepper, nice to have you here from, I guess, Kentucky. Robert, nice to have you here. Curo French Country Bourgogne, nice to have you on board. Robert. Gary, 24 fan, nice to have you on board. Says nice to see you doing another live stream. SW, my PL990 only came with one battery. Yep, the laws around shipping those batteries are pretty inconsistent. Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't hear the Morse code. And I'm checking the Hurricane WatchNet 14325. And I see hams all around the 20-meter band. But not hearing anything on 14325 for the Hurricane WatchNet. So maybe propagation isn't working well from there to here. Dave, nice to have you on board from Indy. M1MBZ says, I've covered some 18650 cells from failed laptop batteries and used those in the XH Data 808. They have more capacity than the battery supplied with the radio. Yeah, I purchased 2,800 milliamp hour batteries. Actually, it's funny. If you guys see flashlights on Amazon or whatever, I started by wanting to buy just the 18650 batteries. And I ended up with, so if I buy 4 18650 batteries, it costs me that amount. But if I buy 8 with an included high capacity, powerful flashlight, it's almost the same price. And so I ended up buying the flashlight, which I actually use a lot anyway, so I like it. But it comes with a charger, the flashlight, and 8 batteries, and I paid, I don't know, something like $45. And they are 2,800 milliamp. One of the things to note when you buy them, how heavy they are. The cheap, I've got a couple of, on eBay, I purchased a couple of very cheap ones, which are falsely rated at 5,500 milliamps, which is impossible. And they weigh nothing. They weigh nothing and they don't last. The ones that I got with the flashlight weigh something. If you notice the ones in the Texan receivers, the blue ones that come with the PL990 or H501, if you order it with the batteries, notice how the batteries are heavy. They are much heavier. And so I think that's one important thing. If you get batteries that are lightweight, you're getting crappy batteries. And it's easy to have bad 18650. It's that's the biggest problem also of these batteries. The 18650 and the BL5C that are on some of the port, like the Radio R108 and the Texan PL368. The biggest problem with those is that getting one that is not a Chinese fake out something is actually more difficult than it seems. Um, it there's a maximum capacity on these batteries. If you buy a BL5C that is rated at 2500 milliamps, it's fake. BL5C battery, I believe, is 1500 milliamp at the most. The 18650s are, I believe, topped at 3000 milliamps. And so if you see them rated at 4000, 5000 milliamp hour, it's impossible in an 18650. That is a fake capacity. It doesn't mean the battery's bad, but they're not advertised correctly. Kev Michael, have the Sony ICF 2003, works great with DX from Australia and New Zealand on AM, also Japan and China, everything in that part of the world. And says used to hear stuff in the 12 megahertz band. Mark Cope, nice to have you here from Dallas, Texas. WA5153SWL. Long time no see. What do we have? Matt says the new issue of Spectrum Monitor is out. It's getting more ham oriented, I've noticed, but it has great article about HCJB. I need to check it out. I've not subscribed this year to Spectrum Monitor. I think it's the first year in quite a few years I have not renewed my subscription. But maybe it's time I check it out again. I hate the fact that they can't handle a subscription in the middle of the year. I mean, how difficult with today's computers is it to actually know when a subscription ends for a user? That I just can't. Says, is the Texan MLA30 Plus made by Texan or simply a rebagged MLA30 Plus? It's a rebadged MLA30 Plus. It's not made by Texan. They just have found out it exists and that it works, so they decided to make a deal with them. But buy it on other places. The one from the Texan website is way too expensive, and you're not getting any different. It is the same antenna. Jim Can 6 BRK running RSP1A with MLA30 and a Tram 1410 with a splitter. Occasional run ADSB antenna 2. Cool. Robert Cross restored 1958 radio during I was in isolation. Well, that's a way of staying alert and all of that. So that's cool. At least you got a radio. Liberator, 80 meters late at night. You can hear some interesting stuff. Peter John Fetting, nice to have you on board. ZR6PCF, Peter from South Africa. Nice to have you here. SW says PL990 is sort of amazing. Shortwave receiver, Bluetooth SD card reader. Good battery life, good battery, easy replaceable, good sound quality. It is amazing. It's, the two things would have put that radio on top, like the H501X. If Texan could get to the point of having an LCD display with RDS for FM, add recording capability to the SD card, killer radio. It beats everybody else. Hey, Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you on board. Nice to be back. Robert Prosper says, not sure if anyone has already mentioned this, but the GE Super Radio 2 has a big role in the recent flick, A Quiet Place Part 2. Huh, interesting. Need to check that out. Sunpleo says, by the way, I have been receiving the Japanese slot machine on 6250 upper sideband in the dawn hours in Oklahoma. Cool. I'll check that out. Kev Michael, Radio Moscow was one of my favorites. Deutsche Welle was my favorite on Showtime and HCJB2. Cool. You can add the MLA30 to the PL990. Yes, TVDXer. All you'll need to do is to have the adapter from the SMA to the plug that the PL990 uses as a antenna input jack. But once you have the adapter, yes, absolutely. It works great. And I've not noticed any, I'll need to test more, but right now, I can't say I've noticed any overload on these radios using the MLA30 outside. But I can't wait to have the multi-coupler back and everything because I miss the fact that I can't run several radios together right now. That's a big problem. Email KC2FKW. Nice to have you here. Kamaxi76 says, I'm pretty sure Kid Richards is immortal. I like the Facebook meme that goes through where there's Adam and Eve, and Adam is asking. So there's Keith Richards, Adam and Eve, and Adam asks God, who is he? And God says, I don't know. It was here before I arrived. The other one also is kind of nice. The one where the Rolling Stones are in the picture and says, zombies. And then, oh, wait, it's just the Rolling Stones. Sheldon Harvey says WWL TV Channel 4 in New Orleans is live streaming with Hurricane Ida info during previous hurricanes, including Katrina. Their coverage was excellent. So that is a station to check out. WWL TV Channel 4. WWLTV.com. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Vojislav says, can hear the CW on 10314, very weak signal. What else do we have? Yeah, there's a little bit of difference in size on the 18650, and it's due to the fact that some of them have a protection circuit. The ones that have the protection circuit are often slightly longer, and they don't fit, which adds to the, bizarre world of batteries. I'm on MBZ, says BL330 uses BL5C. I have a few rated for 1,000 milliamps. What else do we have? Just heard activity on 14325, says Sunpleo. Cool. Let's see if I hear anything here. Unfortunately, I don't have the audio linked to my console because I had to tear off everything. Not hearing really nothing much right now, but I often have a hard time listening to them, especially on the 20-meter band. What else do we have? James Johnson, does anybody have a Texas BL600? I have one. Noticed it's hard to tune it on SSB. Well, it's harder to tune because of the BFO style, any radio. And it's not harder, by the way, to tune than any other radio. It's just that when you have a BFO to when we have a BFO to tune, it's kind of a harder thing to do because if you're not exactly at the frequency, you might have a hard time actually getting the correct voice. Sometimes if you're a kilohertz off and you just can't zero in on the voice, it's really more of a complex because of the BFO, the way that it works. That's why the 990, the H501X and radios like that, even the PL330 are nice because of their simple precision in tuning. All you have to do is be in upper sideband or lower sideband, depending on what you want to listen. So, what else do we have? N6RLS, nice to have you on board from Berkeley, California. Robin, nice to have you here. Kev Michael getting Russian on for 10334 and CW via a Kiwi receiver. Kevin, does the Sangean 909X2 have a way to scan the shortwave bands? Some friends keep asking me, and I don't know. Old timers that will not even consider Texan. Yes, there's scanning. It scans the shortwave bands, but it's a more complex way of doing things. You can scan specific parts, you can scan the whole frequency range, but it can scan the frequency bands. Yes, Kevin. What else do we have? Yeah, that also is something to check out on the 18650s. Make sure that you have the ones with the button top, not the flat top. SW, hey, why don't more radios have RDS? Maybe because it's rather inconsistent how it is used. You know what? It's really just a question of probably money for the display. You know, Texan does one simple thing. Texan reuses and kind of has its same displays over and over again. And, you know, probably to save money on the building of the portable receivers, you know, you don't have to rebuild and have, you know, more to have the information displayed. Because to have RDS, your display needs to go from it's a standard LCD that does this to a LCD that has a dot matrix that can actually display any characters and that's going to show up. So they have to invest in something that, you know, probably costs a little more. Um, but that said, you know, there's almost no excuse that they don't have it because the big problem with that is the chip, the silicon integrated chip on the board does just give RDS information. It's really simply as tapping into it and having the display, you know? So, and like Vince says, it's the question. The problem with the tuning's SSB and then those radios is really the fact that it uses a BFO, which is always making it when you're not used to it, it makes it harder to tune single sideband signals. And 990 or you know these receivers fix that because they tune like you know when I say they tune like a desktop. When you have a desktop receiver or a transceiver, those tune, you know, it's not a BFO. You tune the frequency you're listening to for single sideband. That's it. You just need to know if it's an upper or lower sideband. It really makes tuning single sideband much, much easier. People have a hard time. Someone had led a message to me and saying, "Well, you know, I don't see why that could be much better." It is way much better. You have no idea how much easier it is to tune a radio that is simply precision tuning with separate upper lower sideband than it is with a radio that just has a display and a BFO knob that you got to play to get the pitch of the voice. It's a very, very big difference. So, you know. Sheldon Harvey forecasting category 4 at landfall for Katrina. So, and for Katrina, for Ida, Katrina was only at 3. So, potentially that could be even worse than Katrina. Let's really cross our fingers that everything is going to work well. So, Bobby's watching WWL TV app on the Fire Stick. Cool. Oh yeah, I saw that one too, Eric. The picture of Keith Richards holding a baby, and it's Betty White. Oh God. Um, Kev Michael, Russian Civilian 10334 via QA receiver. Also audio on the same GN909X. Arjun, nice to have you here. Nice to be back. James Smith, nice to have you on board from Georgia. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let me check it out here. Can I unhide? Let me check it out here. If I can unhide, I need to check. Participants. I don't see quickly where I can unhide Ferda Aiden. Let me see here, and I don't have any options in front of his name. Let me just check it out here. Let me just check it out here. Where can I? Hey, Mike Jam. Nice to have you here. Trying to find if there's a way that can quickly. That is the problem with this interface. It's not easy to. There we go. Click. Maybe this is going to help out by doing this. Is he back? Okay, thanks, Bobby. I was trying to find quickly the way to. Okay. Oh, because you unblocked him. I had no. Okay. I didn't see it. Okay. Thanks, Bobby, for doing it. TVDX just bought the PL990. Looks like he'll have it sometimes this week. Cool. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. I can tell you that. Going to have a lot of fun with that. Kev Michael. Well, the latest Texans are as good for me as some of those good radios from Grundig and Sony, honestly. $7,268 is always lower sideband. Toward the 40-meter band is always in lower sideband. 20-meter band is in upper sideband. Are they on? I haven't checked the frequency. So they are on both 14325 and 7268. So let's try 7268 out of curiosity here. Did you hear anything on 14325? There's a lot of activity on the 40-meter band. RJDA Dakota, nice to have you on board, my friend. Somebody was hearing 9765 from Madagascar. Cool. James Johnson, happy with the Ethon Executive Satellite and SSB. Cool. Christian Marco. SSB under 14,000 like USB and use USB. SSB under 14,000 likely use USB and over. No, it's the other way around, first of all. So, okay. The rule, Christian, is for amateur radio only. So 20-meter band, 14 megahertz and up is upper sideband. Amateur bands below 14 megahertz, lower sideband. One exception, 60 meters in the 5 megahertz range. Those several channels there are in upper sideband. But that rule is for amateur radio only. If you listen to utility signals 99.9% of everything else is upper sideband. Yeah, I think you can do it yourself, Matt. Absolutely. When you, if you do it, I think you have the possibility to undo it because, they know accidents can happen. I don't think you need me for that. When if you ever happen, click the dots again. Maybe you have the possibility to unhide somebody. Um, Trustin says that might be just me. I've always wanted a recall button on a shortwave radio, just like a TV remote, jump between two stations. RJ Dakota noticed your T-shirt, like the message and the drawing. Yeah, best friends for life, and there's the name of of me and Paul on it too. Sheila and Paul, best friends for life. Mike Dovis, nice to have you here. And what is Mike asking? Simply tell me why Seacrane advertises against using lithium ion on the Skyways, because they don't use them. Lithium ion batteries are 3.7 volts. They're not the same voltage as AA batteries. So it's not, and you know what? Probably not on these radios, but some appliances are designed in a way that sometimes when you put batteries like lithium ion batteries, you actually have more current going through because of the type of battery. And that actually craps out the stuff. But yeah, the main thing is that lithium ion batteries do not have the same voltage at all. So that's why. Ashraf, nice to have you on board. 3V8SS from Tunisia. Nice to have you here, my friend. Yeah, you're buying a good radio. The Texan PL990 is great. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you on board. Great to see everybody here too. And it says great to have live stream. Bert in rural Virginia, staying indoors today, 98 Fahrenheit. Outside is muggy. Doing some woodworking projects. Cool. That's pretty much what I did all week. I stayed inside most of the time. There was a couple of evenings that were manageable, like when the sun set and went outside with the radios. You guys probably saw the here my videos this week. I'm just gonna do a little something here because I'm messing up everything. But I did play a lot this week with two radios. And of course, the two radios that I played with a lot this week were the Sangean 909X, 909X2. So these were radios of choice for the week. I had a lot of fun playing around with them. Actually, like I say, they are nice radios, and they are, they're not, because I got a lot of people like, well, I've got one and I love it, and you say it's crap, and it's like, that's not what I said. I haven't never said they are crappy radios. I just point out the flaws that the radio have that for me is kind of unacceptable, So it's kind of simply says they told me not to use a lithium ion battery pack for cell phones with USB connector even. I'm like, why? It's 5 volts. But you know what? That is probably one of the things I've seen on some devices. There are devices that the way they are designed actually pick up more power than needed on regular on lithium ion or rechargeable batteries. And there are actually some devices that tell you, if you use the rechargeable batteries or lithium ion batteries, even though same voltage, you are going to fry the radio or the device. I've seen that a few times, and it's apparently on the way that the circuit is actually done. On regular alkaline batteries, they can't really get and fetch and get all the milliamps to fry it. But on a lithium ion, because these batteries can really pack a punch, it's like NiCads. When you short a alkaline double A, you get a few amps. But when you short a rechargeable, you go above 10 amps. It's crazy the amount of power coming out of it. They are so powerful that for some reason there's designs in electronics sometimes that can actually fry a circuit. And so that is mainly probably the reason they're saying don't try it, because we know that it can actually fry the circuit board. Jeff McLeod, nice to have you here. Picked up a Demo 830 on the recommendation, connected it to my Texan PL 880, and says this combo can't beat for the number and strength of signals it picks up. Nonstop listening fun. ML 830, it's not for everyone. I say it all the time. It is not an antenna that everybody will use and have fun with, but it's definitely, for a lot of us, a game changer in our hobby. Without that MLA 30, I would not hear as much on the shortwave bands. I can tell you that. Sunpleo, try the Madagascar frequency I posted. What was it? 9765? Yep, there's definitely a station there. But it's a little noisy here. What station is that? 9765. Let's check it out here. 9765. 9765 at 2130. So 9765. Oh, it's the Madagascar World Christian Broadcast. And okay, it sounded Portuguese. Just South America. Yeah, it's coming in. It's coming in. It's a little noisy, but it's coming in. Definitely coming in. There's let me check out here. There was Greece 9420. That seemed to be not bad. That's a little noisy, but it's Greece is there. I got this white noise for some reason on the today that I don't usually have. I don't know if let me try something, guys. Yeah, I got confirmation that it's not coming out of my my power adapter. So I've got some noise from something, and I don't know what. It's noisier than normal for me here in the different in the 31 meter band, at least right now. So did I shut down anything that I shouldn't have? No, I don't think so. Everything's okay. What else do we have? Matt is going to be doing through some antenna upgrades in the coming months, if all goes well. This will largely be for ham radio, but hoping it works for shortwave listening too. Yeah, it should. I mean, you're in the same frequency ranges, so it might help out. That's for sure. And it's fun to test out these different things for sure. Um, N6 RLS just saw this. Nuclear ship Savannah will be on the air as K3S this Saturday, August the 28th from 13 to 21 Zulu, celebrating the ship's August 1962 maiden voyage. Oh, kind of cool. Give me something to check out. So K3, so Kilo 3 Sierra. That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. Station will use 500 watts into 40 20-meter dipole, 45 feet off the weather deck. Cool. Jeff in New Hampshire, nice to have you on board. Simply goes hearing it on the Ombrew antenna on this Ethon Executive. Cool. Jeff, is there a reason to clip a wire on the end of the telescoping antenna versus using the antenna input jack? It's more of a simplicity thing because technically speaking, the antenna input jack is a better option because it is, first of all, on most radios, the antenna input jack disconnects medium wave and FM. So what happens is if you have FM breakthrough, for example, that should disappear when you use the input jack of the antenna of a radio. Where on the telescopic, you can actually make things worse if the signal's just even stronger. So technically, also if you're using shielded cables, I mean, it's meant for that type of use, with the center connector having the antenna on it and the shield of the wire being, so you're being able to, for example, use a shielded cable from the radio up to outside on the input jack, which makes it better rather than on the telescoping, which is not really meant for an external antenna. But for a quick, let's try it out, it works in general quite well also on the telescoping antenna. N6 RLS, more details about the Savannah is QSL and QRZ for K3S AV and K3S. So, well, it's 40 and 20 meters, Dave. So that means they're going to be somewhere on those bands. You have to find it. One of the good places to check it out is to go on the clusters, like, DX Fun Cluster, for example, and look at people reporting the different stations. If you see somebody reporting K3S, you'll know what frequency they're using at a specific time. So, what else do we have? Chuck, are you work on your Radio Shack WRFD 894? What's that? So, what else do we have? Okay, so I'm down the chat. That's not too bad. I've reached the bottom. So, hey, when's the last live show I did? I'm trying to figure out when the live show was. I'm just going to check out here on YouTube on the Chromebook. Last time I've done a live show. Stream, let me check it out here. Live. So we're August the 28th. And July, when was it? July. See it here in what order? So I see the one from July 1st, Canada Day. And it seems like that's pretty much the last time. Canada Day. Man. Crazy. So it's nice to be back. So what's happening here with The Office, for those that are asking the question, probably. Okay. What What I wanted to do was supposed to be done because the landlord had his stuff to do, which isn't finished. And because that isn't finished, I can't finish here too, which means I live in boxes and I'm trying to do the best to, work through that for now. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, things are going to get better and I'm going to actually be better. And everything's going to be installed better. So I got these big black shelves here. The table that I purchased, that I shared the link earlier. Um, so I bought a second one that will be coming here, arriving on Thursday. It's going to go on that wall. I'm going to do like two 5 foot desks, roughly. They will be functional. So one I will keep for videos of all sorts. When I need to show a computer, when I need to, because I'm adding stuff on the tech channel. That's why I've got, you know, a Chromebook now, because I will be adding content of other stuff than just Windows. The Of course, the tables are beautiful, so they'll be, there's one that's going to be just for when I want to make videos of something, a radio, whatever. It's going to be a beautiful place, and then it's always going to be a clean spot for testing and so on. And I'll have quite a few changes. So you guys have seen that desk there, where there's the 55-inch TV that I've been doing a lot of the live shows from. That is going to be cleaned up and is also going to be used once again. I'll probably use that side for that purpose. But the way it's going to be set up is I want to have different places, different angles. So it's going to be there for one thing. One week I do live shows and I'm using portables. Well, we're going to be at the desk and the antenna is going to be plugged in, and the portables are going to be the ones I'm going to use. So all of that is going to be changing. I'm still waiting for the landlord to completely finish what he has to do to paint. This is going to be painted very soon. And so I can slowly start putting things back together. So this year I have a new air conditioning, which is extremely noisy here in the window. It's a problem because when you do videos and you have background noise, it's always annoying. Live shows are impossible, or pretty much, when that is on. So, for next year, I'm going to have to think exactly how do I want to set up all of this. Um, I have the projector that I would like to use. So, by removing the shelves, I mean, this table is not very high, so I can actually use the wall behind it and maybe project stuff. I was thinking, do I buy another 55-inch TV, or do I actually make sure that this wall is painted super white and use my projector, which is unused right now? And I could actually use it with one of the mini PCs, run it in SDR on it. I could run, I was thinking of maybe using the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery and running that on a mini PC that would be projected to the wall. So that could be something also that could be interesting. So I don't know. I'm adjusting still, because I'm wondering how things are going to be and how I can. One thing for sure is that having to remove everything, including from the closet back there, made me realize that I have too much stuff and I don't want this office to be cluttered as much as it was before. And so that means if I don't want to have it cluttered like before, I need to put stuff together in a more, in a different fashion and different way, and try to limit the amount of junk that I actually accumulate all the time. So there's all sorts of stuff that I'm going to be doing, and it's a work in progress right now because of all that has to be done. So I'm waiting for the landlord to finish everything there needs to be done, And hopefully, I'll by the winter, I'll have a functional office with some really, nice space to work on, and I'll have two shelves. I plan on dedicating the shelves to radio. I mean, all the radios, when not in use, are going to be on the shelves, and I just pick up a radio when I want to use it and use it. For the big radios that I have, which is the ICOM SCRD 500 and a Yaesu FT450. And there's going to be a third one that's probably going to be added because fast load that you guys see in the chat, I had given him my Kenwood R5000. And of course, the idea behind it, and I had told him, is it's yours. But if one day you do not want it anymore, you have to give it back to me. You can't sell it or anything. So that was the deal. And so he's getting a Kenwood TS440S transceiver, which is very closely related to Kenwood R5000, except for the transmitting side. So this week he came back and said, "Oh, you want to have your R5000 back? Because I won't need it anymore. I won't use it anymore." So of course that means, okay, I'm going to have the R5000 back in working order, which is cool. So that means these radios are going to be back. For some reason, the R5000, I probably will want to have it working. I've got some fond memories, and it's pretty nice radio. So I want to have it in working order. So all of that means that I have to set up somehow and set up in a way that is going to be productive, and that makes things not too cluttered at the same time, because that's the biggest problem. It's easy to get cluttered. And one of the first things that I noticed when I started removing stuff here is you go from, so that's my room, to, wow, this is a big room. Because this space here, this office space here, is actually a big room. It is almost as big as my living room. And so it didn't feel like it because I had too much stuff in it. But now that I'm removing everything and uncluttering it, it actually does feel much bigger. And by reorganizing, it feels good too. Like just doing the live show here from this table, the desk here, and a different spot in front of the window is refreshing. It's different. It feels different. It's like starting live shows from somewhere else. It's almost as if I've moved into another spot. So I want to have everything functional so that whatever I do is going to be fun. I have you guys. I probably don't see it. I don't know if you guys see it from the corner here. No, you guys don't see it. So on the corner here, I actually have a lamp right here. So you see that corner lamp there. So that lamp is, of course, controlled with my phone. I've been testing this because it is quite powerful. And of course, with the control that I have over it, I can do whatever I want. So if I want to, for example, I can put it even brighter. You see here now it's really bright. I can actually change it in half colors. So with my phone's interface here, I just choose the color and I go into the color I want: green, blue, red, whatever. And of course, you have scene stuff where you can have it change color automatically or go through different colors or even follow music, which is kind of funny. So this is, I'm going to put it back down to a little less. Here we go. So, I am testing that lamp because I was thinking of how will I set up how will I set up with also the different lighting systems here? There I have also the other lighting systems, which are the clip-on lamps that also have Wi-Fi bulbs in them that I can change color and intensity. So I've been thinking, for example, that lamp I kind of like. It's very bright. I'm thinking, so I purchased one to test. I am thinking of purchasing at least another one. So I have two. So one in this corner which will be the corner with the desk, and one maybe in the other corner there, so I can actually have two of them working together, which is nice. So all of that, and looking at what I can do here to maximize everything YouTube, because I mean it's my job, and I got to start looking at some point at exactly how I'm going to set up stuff. So it's a work in progress, like I said. We're still checking out how we're going to do and how we're going to set up also the radios. I'll have, of course, my multi-coupler, which is going to be easy access. So multi-coupler will probably be on this desk. It's going to be the easy way. I want to put hooks, because one of the biggest problems with cables, that's also the big problem with radios and cables. The more radios you have, what do you have? You have more cables around it. And the problem with more cables is they get tangled, they get all, messed up. I want to have every cable accessible at on an easy way. Like, I don't know, with hooks maybe or something. It's like, okay, I need a cable for the antenna for my portables. Hook. I have the cable here. Just hook it up. It works. Okay, now I need to use the same multi-coupler, but I need to change the cable for the input jack of my ICOM. Then okay, cable is here for that purpose, and so on. So a lot of stuff like that. Plus the console. The console is a big mess of cables, you know, microphones, all the inputs that you put from your different radios and stuff. Once again, another cluttering of cables. And that is something I want to fix. I don't want to have 500 cables on the floor. If they are going to be there, they're going to be in the air on hooks going through around. But not on the floor. If we need to have access to the walls or the floor, it's going to be easy because nothing's going to be on the floor. It's all going to be in the air somehow. So all sorts of little things like that. Plus, I have that ugly lamp here at the top. That's the lamp that was here when I arrived here, that I want to remove and also replace with some Wi-Fi enabled. What I was thinking is maybe just leave that there, but put two Wi-Fi bulbs in it that I can actually change color and do all sorts of things. So it's pretty big enterprise doing stuff. I've got two mini PCs right now. One on the running DSDR, the other one on Windows 10 running. Right now, what I would do, what I wanted to do, is run the live shows through it, because it is not plugged in far away. I'm using my gaming laptop for this time around for the live show again, but I will dedicate that mini PC. That's what I was using the last three live shows, and it worked well. So that would be dedicated actually to live shows. That's the only purpose it would be used for. And I'm thinking of maybe a third powerful mini PC for other purpose. So I don't know. I've got ideas. I got a lot of stuff going on. So I'll be, of course, dabbling with all of that, so that doing live shows looks cool, looks nice. Of course, there's a pirate flag here. It'll have a spot somewhere once it's installed. I mean, sometimes I'll be doing live shows with the pirate flag in the background. Sometimes I'll be doing live shows with the SDR on the 55-inch TV, and more, hopefully. So this is the plan for trying to make things better, honestly. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, K3S, Dave, is a ham broadcast. It's a ham station. Matt says hopefully they're still on, but it's well after 21 Zulu, and it sounds like they are going to be on today only. Most special event stations stay on for several days. Oh yeah, it's today. Yeah, mostly in single sideband. In single sideband, the AGC is a tough one. Sometimes in weak signals on some also, but not all. I mean, the Texan PL990 and H501X are DSP also, but they are triple conversion, and DSP is used as one of the layers if you want. And PLL is mostly driving it, so it tunes like a standard PLL, and it feels like a standard PLL analog radio. Robert Cross picking up loads on shortwave tonight in Ireland on my radios. Cool. Frank Ireland hearing activity on 14325. Yep, the Hurricane WatchNet is active right now. 14325 upper sideband, 7268 lower sideband. Mike WDX50, nice to have you on board from Northwest Arkansas. Eric says what Jill is saying is almost impossible. You may get rid of the junk, but junk boards a vacuum in space and will fill it again. You know, it is tough. It is totally tough. That's where you notice you got to make choices, and sometimes tough choices. There are things that I departed from things in the past couple of months that I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Time to get rid of stuff and have more space. There's too much here now. That's what happens when you're at the same place for 20 years. You just have more and more stuff. What is Ali Crouch's Kitchen? Key bounce. Yeah. There's a dots problem also, but when that is fixed, works pretty well. Man. Dr. Sisup, aloha. Nice to have you on board. And says, what's this new WMRI 9670 from Europe? Can anyone get it at night? 9670 is actually channel 292. And it has different types of shows on it. So what you are talking about probably is Music Radio International. So 9670 is actually channel 292 out of Germany. They've been on 9670 for a while. I've heard them a little bit here, but they're not the strongest signal. Let me just check here if I get 9670 right now. I don't even see it right now in the waterfall, so it doesn't seem to be reaching right now. But 9670 is really channel 292 actually. Frank Ireland, no antenna to use it now since I'm in a condo, so using a remote station to get on the air. Oh man, sad. Mobile Armor Strike Command bought a Signal Link USB, going to try digital communications. Cool. Mike WDX 50, what smartphone do you have? I have an LG V60, but the LG is getting out of the smartphone business. This one is my Samsung Galaxy S20 5G. This is what I'm using right now, the Galaxy S20 5G. And I'm very happy and very pleased with it. Honestly, my contract ends soon for the purchase of the phone. I'm not really sure I want to change it. I don't see any other phones that are appealing right now that one wants to make me change to something else. So yeah, 9670 is channel 292, and they play something called World Music Radio. Singus Rider, it sounds like you have a great plan for your office. I'm working on something similar for my bedroom, currently looking at a desk to replace the one I gave my son. Cool. It feels good I have to say, it feels good to redo everything. And once the boxes in the middle of the spot here are gone because everything's finished, I'm going to be in happier, and I'm going to probably be okay with everything. And it feels good to change. That big corner desk that I had was nice, but It was too the way it was designed for computer use. This desk is designed for whatever. It's a simple 5 feet long desk, So it feels good to change stuff. Adrian Iban, nice to have you here from Argentina. Our JD Dakotas has stumbled across a 160 meter band and found a local ham on 1860. WA0RCR is from Winsville. World of Radio with Glenn Hauser was heard earlier. Yeah, I when noise levels were lower, I used to actually get WA0RCR from time to time, enough to actually listen. They had amateur radio news stuff on that. But with the noise now, it's almost impossible for me to hear it. I see the little spike that it's there, but it's too noisy to actually listen to anything. Dave O'Toole, nice to have you on board from Ireland. And happy to be back. Yep, 1860 is an AM mode, so that's kind of cool. So, anyways, that's the stuff I want to do, and I want to try to make things a little better and a little more fun to use. Here I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at Voice of Turkey is on 9330, but it is overpowered right now here by the RTTY signal coming from the U.S. Navy East Coast on 9830 kilohertz in English. So unfortunately, there's more teletype than there's actually Voice of Turkey. If I use lower sideband, kind of works, but it's a rough copy. So radio Voice of Turkey in English is on a 9830, but definitely the RTTY from the U.S. Navy is overpowering it. WWV and CHU check. Oh man, 3330. I've got 3330. Not very strong, but it's there. Not hearing 7850. Not hearing 14670. WWV 25 megahertz. Nope. 20 megahertz. Nope. 15 megahertz comes pretty well. It's a pretty good signal. 15 megahertz. Barely audible on 10 megahertz, and I won't even try the other ones because I'm not going to be there. So, David, KJ4CMY, I would like to listen to Shortwave earlier, but we have had so many thunderstorms in our area. Yeah, summertime. K4FBI, Mike says Voice of Turkey has been having issues with their transmissions at 03 on 7275. Late starts in wrong language. It's not just that one. Voice of Turkey has been having for a long time issues. So even 9830 kilohertz, sometimes it's supposed to start at 22. I've seen it start as late as 2210, 2215. I've seen it not being there at all. It's supposed to shut off at 22 UT, but sometimes it continues. Sometimes it interferes with other broadcasts. It's typical Voice of Turkey. All of their frequencies are messed up. Sometimes it turns on, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it turns on and stays on later than usual, interfering with other broadcasts. It's just, when I hear Glenn saying, well, there's always something wrong at Radio Vanucuba. Well, there's always something wrong at Voice of Turkey also. I can tell you that. It's pretty crazy. JD Dakota. Yeah, I know that I knew that Glenn Hauser's World of Radio was on there because I see it when I go to the World of Radio website and look at the list of his shows with airtime. I've noticed that I know that it shows up on 1860. Stormovic, what's my opinion of the Texan S2000? It's an okay radio. I mean, it receives. It seems to be pretty nice and everything, but it's not top notch. You have better radios out, but a lot of people that have one seem to like it. So it depends what you're looking for. Vince, they have to recalibrate the PL990X a lot. I used 3330 calibrated, and I did it many times in 2 weeks. Yep, which is normal. There's always a little change from the frequency calibration. This is typical. You got to remember that that's a radio that isn't a high-end $2,000 receiver, and you're actually asking it some really precise frequency. So, having to recalibrate the PL990X, same for the H501X, regularly is normal. I typically will, almost every time I turn it on, check it against WWV, because for me I find it better to with WWV. But whatever you use, 3330 is quite accurate too. But it's kind of normal. You're asking a radio. You got to that's also one thing we got to remember, because what we don't see on a lot of receivers, because somebody was telling me, I returned it because of that, and I said, well, I would not return it because of that, for a simple reason, because you cannot compare it to another radio. He was saying, well, I've got what's the other radio he had? Is a was it a Grandig Yacht Boy something? And he said, well, there's no calibration to do there. And I said, how do you know? It doesn't have frequency precision the 990 or the H501 has. You're using a BFO. I can bet you that BFO, every time you tune, is not exactly in the same spot. It also has a slight drift. When you $100, you're still in a radio that technically is low-end radio when you compare it. I mean, even a radio like the ICOM ICRD 500 over time needs to be recalibrated. And I mean, we're talking of a $2,000 plus receiver. So we're talking of a $200, $300 radio. You can't expect it to be like a $2,000 radio, but it's still quite amazing that it has that precision. It takes a few seconds. I actually told the guy, I said, you shouldn't return it. It's why? You've got way more precision and tuning there. The only thing is take a couple of minutes and just look at the calibration with WWV or a known signal that's pretty good, and you're set off. And I mean, as long as you use it in your evening, that thing is rock on frequency pretty much. Look at the CNG and ATS 909 X2 and X. There are receivers that cost as much as the PL990X, and they're off. They're off frequency. I even noticed that the 990X, the 909X, sorry, and the CNG 909X2 actually drift when I put them exactly on the frequency in single sideband. After a couple of minutes, they have drifted apart slowly. So imagine, those also drift and have that. With one very bad, one very sad thing, at least the 990X, you calibrate. It has the option. The CNG and ATS 909, you're stuck with the off frequency that it is, which is sad. No calibration procedure. So, it's normal that a radio of that price, we're asking it extremely precise tuning, and for the price, it's amazing we get that precision of tuning. The PL330 is even worse. PL330 is way more off every time you turn it on than the PL990X. I look at the ICOM ICR20 that I have and the ICOM ICR30. They are off frequency also on their tuning, and those are 2, 3 times the price of the PL990X. It's a question of understanding that we're asking equipment that is technically not that high priced. It is, yes, expensive for most people, and what I mean by that is that compared to other technical products, you're asking precision off of a 200 $300 radio that is typically seen mostly in $1,000 radios. So we can't, we have to, that for me is not a problem because we can't be too hard on those radios for having a slight drift off that you need to correct. At least you recalibrate and it's fine. And that's the perfect thing. I would say what annoys me a little more on the PL990X and the H501X, because they both have the same problem there. If you go tune single sideband signals above 20 megahertz, 15-meter band, for example, or even 10 meters when it's on, there's a slight wobble or tremble in this SSB as if the single sideband detector isn't stable. That is more of a problem for me. That is more of a, why is it doing that? It does it more with stronger signals, but when you listen to the 40-meter band, it doesn't exhibit that problem. We don't, the signal's pretty stable. It's only when we get at the top of the band, near the edge of the shortwave bands on these radios, that they actually do that, which is weird. I don't know why the SSB is kind of, a little weird at that point. I mean, it still works and you're still going to listen to your stuff, but it it definitely is noticeable, and I find it sometimes even a little annoying. But as for calibration, for me, that's not an issue. Not for radios of that price range. Like I said, we're asking so much precision out of receivers that are actually technically low priced. If you you consider that you have all of those features and what they sound like and how they work, a radio like that in the 80s would have been $1,000 or more, and would actually drift more than the PL990 does. So it's normal. Kev Michael, let me just, whoops, I lost something here. Kev Michael, 140 miles plus winds expected in New Orleans, being evacuated. Hope things are not getting too bad there. We're gonna follow. It's gonna be interesting to follow that. Follow also. By the way, one of the things to follow on shortwave, is the different military, and mostly when there are hurricanes, you have a lot of activation of HF frequencies for the Civil Air Patrol, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management. There's a lot of HF frequencies they use, so be alert on the utility signals and check it out, because there's a lot of stuff that could pop up and communications that could pop up due to the help that will be needed around all of that. And of course, Hurricane WatchNet 143257268. Continue tuning around and listening. If you're not too far, you can maybe tune to some medium wave signals from AM stations around the area and see what's happening. So, Nick Amendo, nice to have you on board from Romania. Ariane, what do you think about poor propagation on shortwave? Well, it depends. It's not always poor. There's some really, really good propagation times too. I've had a pretty good week actually here with propagation, honestly. Dr. Sisop says, time to put up the Fire Drake and jam 6 megahertz radio Havana. Keegan, nice to have you here. XN80Xer from Northwest Arkansas. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Kevin Michael, why shortwave stations are on off frequencies? It happens. Sometimes it's transmitter related. Some of them are off because just nobody's there to fix it, and they drifted away somehow. Sometimes some are um, off because it actually makes them easier to hear in between other stations also. Chaz Tank, nice to have you on board from Louisville, Kentucky, USA. Canadian Radio TV guy, if I'm correct, on your last stream before the break, you mentioned something about someone buying the Brother Stare time slot on WTWW or something. Actually, WTWW does not have Brother Stare. They never did. But from what I understand, Brother Stare is kind of renewed a lot of its contracts and stuff, and seems it's going to be there for quite a long time in many places. But there's this other um, um, religious group or something that I've kind of heard that was could buy some time off from that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Uh Vince, can the PL600 be calibrated? Maybe that is the reason I was not able to tune good on SSB. No, it's because you can't calibrate it because you don't know where to calibrate it. Since the PL600 does not have the frequency precision, it only tunes to the kilohertz, and it's a BFO, so you're actually changing the tone of the BFO to match the voice. It's not a calibration problem. It's really that using a BFO is much tougher than actually tuning via a precision. I'm going to do is that is something I think it would be worth a demonstration on the video. I'm going to do a couple of videos this week in tuning single sideband, and I'll actually use my PL600 also at the same time to calibrate to tune. But I'll show how it's different to tune with an SSB receiver that has a BFO rather than a receiver that has frequency precision. It's extremely different. And anybody that buys these portable receivers with BFO will most of the time have a hard time tuning SSB. It's something you have to really work on to be able to tune, because you have to understand which side do you have to go to. Are we going that direction, clockwise, counterclockwise, when I want to tune a lower or upper sideband signal? Then there's the other thing is, am I on the frequency that I'm supposed to? So on some utility signals, you want to hear Gander radio on 6604, it's 6604. You're going to tune 6604 on the radio, and you're going to just play with the BFO until you got a clear voice. But when you do it on the ham bands, you don't know what exact frequency the guy is on with a radio like the PL600. Is he on 7245, where I hear him, but I can't zero in on his voice? Maybe he's on 7246, and the range of my BFO on 7245 is not giving me enough flexibility to reach the voice or have the correct tone for the voice. And that's where a radio with less precision in its frequency display plus a BFO is something you have to work on in order to eventually be good at. I'm good at it. Why? Because I spent most of my life tuning with BFOs on portable receivers. I've kind of acquired a certain, sense of how it works. But it definitely isn't as easy than on like the 990, which is so more precise. When you tune on the 990, you're tuning the exact frequency you're supposed to be on to listen to the signal. It's way easier to work like that. You don't even need to know the frequency. You know that when you've tuned the voice, that's the frequency you're actually tuning. So it's a very different way of doing things, and that's why it's a tough one. I think the number one complaint of anyone using a portable or any receiver for single sideband is, what the heck am I doing wrong? I am unable to actually get a clear voice, and that is the experience of tuning tons and tons of signals and getting to a point where you kind of get the drift of how it works. It's like I said, it's not a question of calibrating the PL600. It's a question of knowing exactly what frequency you need to be on for that BFO to be effective and work well. So I'm going to take that note, and I'm going to do demonstrations on my channel this week, tuning around SSB signals and showing how to how you should work off. Maybe try to give some pointers on how it could make it easier to know where to tune. And I'll use several radios, but I'll take out my PL600 to do it also. What do we have here? Kev Michael says, I know 7435, 7330 are off frequencies. Japan is on 7224 in the morning. That's weird. That's weird. Let me check here if I see in the frequency list if they mentioned that, for example, for 7224. 7224. What station from Japan are you getting on 7224? Oh, there's that. Because there's nothing technically on 7224, although there is a Voice of Vietnam spur apparently on 7223.8. So I don't know. What is the station you're on 7224, for example? Is it Radio Japan? If it is, then something's wrong with your tuning. David KJ4CMY says drifting is not good for SSB. Nope. Kevin Michael, remember some radios drift off frequencies with a touch of the antenna. Why this happens? You have to retune the dial. Yeah, because you have an interaction. A lot of older radios exhibit that, touching the radio, touching the antenna, because our body is not, our body has an interaction with the radios around us. So when you actually hold a radio, touch the antenna, our body tends to react more like a ground, but it definitely interferes with the tuning circuit. You add or you change the tuning circuit resonance when you touch the antenna, for example. So on a good radio, it doesn't do anything. But on a lot of older radios, it actually does. Even I have a couple here that just holding the radio drifts it out of frequency. I have to retune when I touch it. That's because the tuning circuit, the way it's designed, is cheaply designed. It interacts really, really with the environment around it. So it interacts with my body, for example. Arthur's Holly Crafter's Kitchen. Those worried about dial calibration may go crazy with analog or tube equipment. Even the high-end stuff is never precise. Absolutely. Depending on the age of the stuff that you have, it definitely is something you need to know. Jim, do SDR radios have drifting issues? Not in general, although the cheap ones do. The RTL SDR does exhibit a slight drift because it comes real hot. But it's minor compared to what we could call a drift in receiver. You might need to recalibrate it a little bit as you're using it. Stuff like the SDR play devices don't drift much, though you might need to calibrate it with, say, WWV from time to time. Not every week, but from time to time, it's not a bad idea to go to a WWV frequency and check it with the upper lower sideband if the calibration is correct. It's never off by a lot, but sometimes it can be off enough that it makes your tuning of single sideband a little more troublesome. So by calibrating it from time to time, you're always on frequency. Keegan, for my 25th birthday on the 14th, I got an Ethon Elite Field radio with RDS and Bluetooth and a C Crane CC Radio 3. Cool. Kevin Upton, my H501X arrived a few weeks back. Thanks for the inspiration to purchase. I've been rewatching your old videos and having a great time with it. Do you have a tip or trick to share? Not much. I think it's really getting used to the radio itself. Trying to think of any tips that I might have. Just make sure that you calibrate it properly with like WWV when you use it to make sure that when you tune single sideband, you're precise. In AM mode, it doesn't matter much because even if you're 100 hertz off, listening to an AM mode shortwave broadcast, it doesn't change anything. But for single sideband, mostly precision is more important. But I think the best tip, and this is not just for the H501X, it's for any radio. Do take the time to play with all the features and read the manual several times in a row. Look at all the options and try to master them. It's really the best thing to do is to master the radio by using it, much more than anything else. For the rest, if I think of anything, I'll try to think of something and make videos out of it. One of the things I'd like to do is maybe kind of revisit a lot of these radios, including the H501X, and maybe do specific videos of tips and tricks on using them. But amazing radio, and hope you like it, honestly. What else do we have? Shelly, nice to have you on board from Pennsylvania. And nice to have you here. Voislav says no issue with SSB voice on Belka. And I'm sure that thing drifts a little bit. I'm sure there's some calibration to have from time to time. Might not be a lot, but I'm sure there is. RJ88 Dakota, remember that 4A3215 radio reload Costa Rica? Yep. They use an off frequency. I remember listening to Radio Nationale Chadienne from Africa, which was on 4904.5. And there was all these odd, bizarre frequencies like Voice of Vietnam would use, like 12020 and 150 something. And it was like, wow, why are they using these odd off frequencies like that? And of course, it was to get away from the interference. So especially back then, it was a great way to get away from the interference of everybody else. So it's kind of weird. Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you on board. Very good evening, connected in Brazil and listening to CQ CVA contest started today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cool. Joseph, I hope your day is going well. Thank you again for the advice to start with PL660. I really am enjoying my new hobby. Cool. Yeah, the idea is to have fun, and it's really, really nice to have a little something that works well for receiving shortwave, honestly. What else do we have? Ron says, excuse this if already discussed. Any real difference between the H501 H501X? X is the export version. It is simply because that is the version officially for the European and North American markets, where the H501 was kept mostly for the Chinese market. They don't really have much difference, except that they come with a different programming. So the long wave band, the tuning steps of the medium wave band, all of that is different on a H501 default than it is on the H501X. Same for the Texan PL990, 990X. They have slight differences there, but overall, as long as you get a radio that has the firmware version, the latest firmware version, they are pretty much the same radio. Pretty much the same thing. It's just that one is for export. Canadian Radio TV guy, my Ethon satellite has been acting up this summer and keeps turning itself on at 4:30 p.m. every day. I think the alarm is set. Does anyone know how to turn it off? The alarm on and off. Imagine me with all the radios I've got, and sometimes I'll put them on the shelf and kind of push them a little bit against each other, and that actually sometimes presses some mode or something, and actually some of them turn on the alarm. And it's like I remember one day when there was like all these radios on the shelf, and for several days in a row, there would be one beep going on at like 2 p.m. And then there was another one. The most annoying one was the beep going on at midnight. There was even one at one point with like at 3 or 4 a.m. And I would wake up or I would get up and look at what radio is it. But there were so many radios on the shelf next to each other. I couldn't even pinpoint which one in all of the radios was actually doing the beep. That drives you crazy. And then that's not over. You've got to do like, how do I turn off the alarm on this thing now? Kimberly, K6YYL, is activating Parks on the Air again today. And she says she is in Carpinteria State Beach. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Paul Stevens just got the PL 880 a week ago, started DXing back around 1997, just getting back into the hobby. Greetings from Michigan. Cool. PL 880, an amazing radio. You're going to have fun with that. You got a great radio there. Matt says it was a really busy day on ham radio here in the USA. There were several states going QSO parties, worldwide FT8, FT4 contests, and lots of parks on the air as well. Timothy Charles, can you recommend a radio that will record FM broadcasts in stereo, preferably in a format other than MP3, say WMA? Well, I don't really know what to say, man. Apart from, I don't know. The best is to use a radio and have it record with your smartphone or a computer. But I mean, there are a few receivers that record like the Tivdio V115 is a cheap $20 radio. Does it record actually in stereo? That's another story. Is it? I don't know. But that does record in, I think it records in MP3. So I think you're better off using an external device for that purpose, honestly. What else do we have? Yeah, listening online to FM stations, you use Audacity, absolutely, on a computer. That works fine. Audacity actually is a great piece of software to record anything. If you have some radios and you want to record stuff, I mean, take your PC and record with Audacity, and it's you're going to make great broadcasts that you can great audio files that you can keep of anything, of all the broadcasts you've listened to and so on. So that could be a fun thing to do, actually. So once again, the Hurricane Watch net is active because we have a powerful storm heading towards Louisiana, 14325 upper sideband. 7268 lower sideband is active right now. Looks like the hurricane is going to be a pretty strong one. Let's hope that everything is not going to be too bad, because it's looking out to be a pretty powerful storm right now. Mike, I love Audacity. I've taught my teachers how to use it. Oh yeah, it's a great software. Darren Rogers, Audacity is a recording software, a free recording software for PC, and it's extremely professional. Actually, you can do pretty much anything you want. It has all the effects you want. You can save your files in different file formats for audio. Recording with Audacity is great. And actually, what I do is when we do the international radio report, me and Sheldon, I actually record all of it in Audacity and edit everything in Audacity. Works great, great. We don't need that, unless you're a real professional, guy. You don't need those expensive software for recording. Honestly, it works great. Do we have Keegan says my dad W9JEF says we will get a lot of rain here in northwest Arkansas. Yep, you can record computer audio and so on. Our JDA Dakota says the V115 does produce a stereo recording of Ivor Mundane. Yeah, that's better. It's yep, Audacity is great and free. Absolutely, it works great. What it needs when you need recording software, don't need anything else. Works great. Anything else here? Let's check out if there are some pirate activity. So something on 6950 upper sideband reported. So let's check it out. 6950. Anything here that I can don't really have nothing there. Nothing much there. Anything else here? Yeah, man, radio 6925 AM, and I don't even see a little peep of signal. So there are a couple of pirates, but nothing here that I can hear right now. I can tell you that. So yeah, you could use a digital voice recorder to record audio shows. If you have a smartphone, your smartphone will do that job. You just need the proper cable, and that's it. Kev Michael, I was wondering if they're going to make a multi-band with digital audio for police and fire calls, also the X2. If you're talking mostly of the of like the digital stuff, there's already scanner radios out there that do decode some of the digital modes. It's just that they will not do anything that is encrypted, and that's probably one of the big problems. What else do we have? What do we have? Where can I find information on the latest firmware version of the H501X? You can ask. The best is to ask Anonco, Anna at Anonco, since they are always the ones selling pretty much the latest versions. She will come back to you and saying, "Oh, the latest firmware version for H501X is that version." I've not been following up on the firmware versions of the 990X and the H501X. Honestly, I know that PL330, they're now at firmware version 3306. which was 3305, the one to have for the first export version. Christopher, nice to have you on board. Trying out the new MFJ 1886X loop antenna. Amazing performance with SDR play. Can you hear Delta Radio International on 6005? Here it's still daytime, so that is not something that is going to come out over here yet, probably. So if I look at 6,000 kilohertz, nothing really on 6005. I do see a pretty good signal here out of there's a very good signal from Mali on the 5995. Wow. It's actually much stronger than I'm used to hear. It is in French language right now. 5995 Mali in French. Really good signal. Really good signal. Wow. I am surprised. So Radio TV Malienne on 5995 coming in French, pretty good. Really nice. Matt says Yemen Radio is one of those stations that seems to deliberately keep their signals in such a way that only a small area can copy it. It's logged on the HF Underground a lot, but by the same people all the time. Yeah, maybe they're using very low power or their equipment isn't that great. David KJ4CMY, I saw a YouTube video that said that newer versions of Audacity have spyware in them. I have an older version and have no desire to upgrade. I've heard something about that. I don't know how true that is. I've not. Well, I've installed the latest version on my mini PC. I haven't found anything special about it. I think one of the biggest problems is not necessarily because we got to be careful with those posts of spyware stuff. Sometimes it's because someone doesn't like the fact that maybe Audacity has maybe they added like a feature like telemetry to send back to see if it works well and stuff like that. Um, I've okay. There's Audio Technica, Ars Technica article. Several open source news outlet began warning there should be, if true. Focused personal technology declares although Audacity is free and open source, new owner news group. Pretty damaging changes, specifically meaning its new policy, privacy policy, and telemetry features. That's the thing. It's telemetry features. Honestly, there's no spyware in that. I'm tired. I'm a little tired of a lot of these tech gurus that start yelling like, well, telemetry is like all the people complaining, oh, Windows 10 is like, Microsoft spies on you. Oh, come on, please, people. Okay. I got something else to do than to start listening to people like that. It's telemetry. They say it here. There's telemetry and Audacity. That's it. Telemetry, is simply they're sending back data about the software. They'll have, the crashes and any problems that could, they'll have some information. Come on. What are you doing with Audacity that is so bad that, oh, we have telemetry. I don't want to have telemetry. Come on. Your smartphone sends more telemetry than anything else. It's, we got to stop going crazy with that. It's telemetry. That's it. I'm not overly concerned on that personally. What else do we have? Has anybody noticed the buzzers being jammed? Well, the buzzer has always been having all sorts of weird things happening with it all the time. People talking over it, and that's been logged and talked about for quite a while, honestly. So it's telemetry stuff. I wouldn't care about installing a new version. We got to be careful. A lot of those a lot of tech sites overhype overhype the the stuff to get interesting and get people to go to their sites and to have more traffic, and we got to be careful with that. um you know what else do we have? Matt says 5995 almost imperceptible there, too far west, sadly. What else do we have? What else do we have? Mike has Audacity 2.3. The important thing is, whatever version you have, as long as it doesn't have security flaws that could be exploited. The rest is whatever version you have is you know is okay. Comexi 76, to update the firmware version on any Texan radios after you purchase, you got to send it in. So you'll have to pay for the shipping to send it back in for it to be updated. Only Texan can do it. It would be nice, with the USB ports now on these radios like 990X. It would have been nice if they added the possibility for anybody to do it, honestly. So. LA7YKA Norway, nice to have you on board. Nope. No, not a ham. Kamazi 76 says things that one could argue about spying, maybe the Amazon Echo and the Google Home, but most people aren't that interesting to spy on. That's pretty much true, honestly. It's like, who cares? It's like, when somebody says, well, apparently you get spied on by Microsoft. Yeah, what do you do on your computer that's just so, bad that, oh man, I can't, they're going to spy on me. It's like, yeah, they don't care about your personal life. It's the first thing I always say is, come on, these big companies don't care at all about what you do in your personal life. It's actually super boring. It's just funny. God. Rich says my new PL 330 version 3306 tuning encoder upward jumps backwards 2 channels, then forward 8 or 9, then 1 back, then skips by nod, advancing or back. Huh, that's weird. And you're on 3306. Because it's not impossible that it could be an encoder issue, but it also can be a firmware issue. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Is it because it's something happening on 3306? One of the things you should try is remove the battery for 24 hours and put it back in, just in case it's the kind of the CPU of the radio that's a little off. And be careful with static electricity when you use your radios, especially if you touch the telescopic antenna when it's very dry. Ron C, nice to have you on board in Saint-Hubert, just south of Montreal. TVDXer, fais attention à toi. Et puis, on se revoit bientôt, à mercredi. Take care, my friend. He's going to watch football. And apart from that, anything else to check out? So, like we were saying, if you are in search of something from Afghanistan, the BBC World Service coverage has been totally amazing. If you're looking for good coverage, the BBC World Service is the station to check out for any Afghanistan coverage. Here in North America, 9575 at 0UT is pretty good, and 9915 at 04UT has been pretty good from Madagascar also. Of course, you can stream it if you want over the whatever device you use, but the BBC has been truly amazing in the coverage, and you still have journalists on the ground there in Afghanistan. It's totally nuts. Also, if you want to try it, 7600 is the Afghanistan TV International. I see a very small trace here on my SDR right now. It's heard mostly in Europe. Now, that does not have English. So, if you don't speak any of those local language there, forget it. You're not going to understand. But if you want to try it, they come from two different transmitter sites. So it switches, I believe, at 02 UT. I think it's, I'm pretty sure it's Kazakhstan and Qatar, the two transmitter sites used to broadcast towards Afghanistan. And if you want to try it, you can check out if you have the signal. In Europe, it's easily heard, and the U20 University of 20 SDR is receiving it really, really well. 6952. I'm just going to try something here. Yeah, I'm actually hearing the pirate on 6950. Not strong, but it's there. 6950, upper sideband with some music right now. So I'm actually starting to hear 6950, upper sideband pirate, by the way. Canadian radio. So Dr. Sisop says Sky News also excellent. Canadian Radio TV guy says I found a weird firmware bug on my Texan PL330 to where if I switch the internal ferrite antenna off to use external antenna on medium wave, I hear WWV 10 megahertz on 1480 kilohertz. Well, that's an interesting one. It's probably more of a an overloading issue with the internal receiver. This is weird. Huh, interesting. Even with the external antenna unplugged. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. No radio's perfect. They all have those little these little quirks and quirks that you have to deal with. Even the H501X, like I said, 51X, 990X have that little wobbly single sideband thing on the upper part of the spectrum. They all have a little something that even expensive radios are have a lot of issues of all sorts. No radio's perfect. Ron has a new toy for the Xing FT757GX from Yaesu. So cool. Always cool to have a new toy to play with. Robert says CNGN makes a great digital audio recorder, the AR101. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Nice to have you on board. Kev Michael, why does my BCT15X have frequencies missing in the 800 megahertz band? How can I open them? Not all receivers can be unblocked from the 800 megahertz band. And they are blocked because they were blocking the old analog cell phone range back in the day, which was done. There was a law passed I believe it was in the early 90s, that the U.S. passed a law that blocked the analog cell bands. Back then, the receivers could be modified. So older receivers are possibly modified. If you want to know if it's possible or not on your radio, you have to just Google it. Just Google BCT 15X. Unblock 800 megahertz unblock. You'll come up with something if it's possible. That said, you're not missing out on anything. Whatever you are, yeah, is blocked in the 800 megahertz range, you won't hear anything there. It's there's nothing there to of interest. So it's not really important if you don't have those frequency ranges anymore. Timothy Charles. Timothy says, I'm new to shortwave. Cost isn't really that important. What's the best portable receiver for the newbie? It depends what you're going to do. And, honestly, anything from like the Texan PL330 we've been talking about, which is like 70, 75, 80 bucks, to, higher end stuff like the Texan H501X or Texan PL990X are all great radios. And you start off with something really good from the start, that has a single sideband. So, these are great radios to start with, honestly. There's other radios like the XH Data D808 that also is known as the Odon D808. That is a good radio. There's other Texan models that are good also. Um, Depends what you want to do, but just with the ones I just talked about, you already start off with a pretty good radio, honestly. Jared EX 6950 is strong over there. Rich says S2 copy of 6950 in North Carolina. Mad Max, I bought an Ethon Elite Executive. Been pretty happy with it so far. Just figuring out about the external antenna jack. Cool. Nice to see people buying new radios and playing around. Pretty nice. Carlos, nice to have you on board from Salt Lake City, Utah. Brian says everything is different in the official SWL channel studio. Looks like I've missed a lot of being in the woods. Well, actually, you didn't miss a lot because there's not been any shows for quite a few weeks now. Reorganizing everything. So slowly I'm getting back to a normal life, but I'm still waiting for a few things to happen to change all of this and make it even better than what it looks now, which is rather crappy with shelves and very basic stuff. But we're coming up to it. We're coming up to it. So it's been a while. Canadian Radio TV guy, my PL330 has firmware 3303. Yeah, what you have is the famous reverse tuning bug in when you're in tuning the single sideband with precise tuning. But it still works, honestly. So Chastain said 6 weeks felt like 6 months. So hey guys, we're at pretty much 3 hours of radio fun. I'm a little tired. I will go myself a nice big pasta recipe that I have here. So hope that you enjoyed today's show, and we'll be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0 hours UTC Thursday for all the other people. And hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We'll be, of course, back to the regular schedule now. So it's going to be Wednesday and Wednesday/Thursday and Saturday. We're back to our shows and hope to slowly have the studio back in working order and everything coming back fine. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. It was nice to have you on board. It was nice to be here again. Feels good and feels interesting to be in a different spot also. So don't forget the Hurricane WatchNet 14325 and 7268. Two frequencies to monitor for the Hurricane WatchNet. Do tune around the utility section of the shortwave bands, because there will be there's FEMA, there's the Civil Air Patrol, there's the U.S. all sorts of things of the U.S. Army that can kick in, and there's a lot of activity on the HF bands when all of this is activated. So there might be stuff you can listen to and be at the heart of the action of what's happening. Let's hope and let's pray that the storm is not going to hit Louisiana too hard. It doesn't look good right now, but let's have a thought for our friends like Bobby Burgess in Louisiana and hope that things are not going to be too bad for the hurricane that's supposed to hit sometime tomorrow. So take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we will be back on our Wednesday feed. Take care, my friends.